Hello and welcome to Women's Yoga. So this is a 30-minute practice. It's a good one to do any time of your cycle. It's especially good to do in the days before your cycle starts, and so in the sort of 3 to 5 days before you bleed and on the first day of your cycle. And it's all about slowing down because at this time during the cycle we're moving into the more intuitive phase. It's a very creative time if we allow ourselves to really draw in our energy and tune into how we're feeling and listen to those inner voices. So we're going to start sitting. If cross-legged is comfortable for you, then that's absolutely fine. You might actually prefer to kneel or sit in a chair or have your legs out in front or stand. So just as long as your torso is upright, do whatever you like. So we're going to have the left hand resting on the heart and we're going to have the right hand resting on the belly. Short meditation time just to check in. So gently close your eyes, or if you prefer to, slightly lower your lids and soften your gaze and turn your awareness inside. And let the base of the body, let your seat sort of broaden and soften down into the ground. And imagine the ground to be, rather than a hard flat surface, more like a giant exercise ball. Imagine the earth to have a little bounce and bounce back underneath your seat. Be aware of the warmth of your hands on your heart and on your belly. And soften the belly so that the belly becomes receptive to the breath, and you can slightly feel the swell of the inhale as it swells and expands the belly, and the subsiding of the exhale as the breath moves back up the body via the heart space, out through the nostrils. And breathe through the nose if you can. And if you're in your head, see if you can drop down into the body, turning your gaze down towards the heart space, and just turning away from everything that you think you know, all the thought patterns, and becoming aware of what you can feel. And just see if you can soften your edges a little bit. Soften the skin, relax the jaw. And then just very gently blink your eyes open, taking some of your awareness out into the space around you, but leaving some of it turning inside. And let's bring the hands to rest on the knees or on the thighs. And let's start with some Sufi circles. So we're just going to circle around. You can make the circles quite small to begin with and build them up so they become broader and roomier, and you might start to feel some sensation in the hips, the belly, the lower back. And if you are on your cycle and you're feeling crampy or bloated, then just do this one really gently. Don't do anything that squashes or strains the abdomen. Let's change direction. We'll circle around a few times this way. And just remaining aware of your breath as you move. So the movement starts to move in coordination with the breath, synchronized with the breath. So it's as though your movement's describing your breath. And then slowly coming all the way back to center. Okay, lovely. So we're going to come up to all fours now. And we'll have the wrists resting just underneath the armpit. Resting just under. And let's do a couple of oscillations of the spine. So lifting the chest and lifting the hips. And then lengthening the tailbone down, rounding the upper back. And just let the head hang. And let's do that just one more time, lifting the chest with an inhale. And then rounding the back with the exhale, and let's hold it here for a moment, and we're just going to visit the left collarbone with the chin and then the right collarbone with the chin, and then just hang the head in the center and return to your neutral spine. And we're going to pad the hands softly up towards the mat, spreading the fingers wide, and we'll walk the knees back a little way behind the hips and tuck the toes. And we're going on up into downward facing dog now. So sinking the hands down into the earth and floating the hips up towards the sky, and keep a little bend in the elbows and a little bend in the knees, and step the feet out wide, right to the edges of the mat. So we'll take a good generous bend in the knees and keep the sitting bones floating as if they've got some helium in them and they're floating up towards the sky. And let's just sway the hips from side to side here. Get really broad across the backs of the hips. And don't over-engage in the abdomen here. So avoid kind of really squashing or compressing the abdomen, but we're going to aim to lengthen the abdomen by sort of drawing the pubic bone back away from the breastbone, and make lots of space there for the pelvic organs. Lovely. So let's step the feet a little bit closer, raise the right leg up towards the sky, and then step the right foot in between the hands. Bring the right knee all the way down to the ground. Place the hands inside the right foot and heel toe that right foot off to the right. And just drop the hips as far forward as is comfortable. Let me show you this way. I'll mirror. And then we're going to circle round. So you're going to go clockwise so that the knee moves away from center first and then does a big circle round. And keep the sole of the foot on the ground. I'm getting really movey and circly in the hips. There aren't any straight lines in this practice because there aren't any straight lines in the body. And for the processes of the body to move, we need this more kind of spirally, circly action. So we're going to stay in a lunge. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee away from the ground. You can always leave the back knee on the ground if you're feeling fatigued. And then bring the right hand to the thigh, turn towards the right, spin the belly to the right, and then open up and curl back in a lovely open twist. So you're resisting with that left thigh, which is lifting up towards the sky, and then turning the belly, ribs, the chest towards the ceiling. And let's bring the right hand down to the ground, take a step back into down dog, feet wide, knees bent. This tilt in the pelvis and a softening in between the shoulder blades. Curl forward, come into plank so that the body's parallel to the ground. You can always have your knees on the ground here. Press the thighs back and extend the crown forward and the tail back. And then we'll bring the knees to the ground. Bend the elbows, take the chest forward. You can always bring your pelvis down first if you need to. And come into Sphinx Pose with the forearms propping you up. And if you rock a few times from side to side, you can bring your thighs closer together. Press lightly through the forearms and lift the belly up out of the pelvis, lengthening the tailbone down to keep some length, some traction along the lower back. And then release down, slide back so that the hands are level with the breastbone, and bend your knees, flex the feet, and then lift your chest away from the ground. The collarbones float up towards the sky. And here, if you're feeling like you can do more here, you can lift the knees a little bit as well. You're probably not very far here, don't worry. And then we're going to unfold, shape shift all the way back to our wide down dog. Take a breath here. Raise the left leg up towards the sky. And then step the left foot forward. Back knee comes to the ground and the hands are inside the left foot. And we're going anti-clockwise this time. And we'll do our circles round. So getting lots of movement in the hips. Slow, full breath. And you can start to make your exhale a little bit longer than your inhale. So stretching the exhales. You really encourage that activation of the parasympathetic nervous system to help you bring you into a state of rest. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, bring the left hand to the thigh and then twist towards the left and open up. So there's no sort of linear A to B journey in a pose. If you find yourself in your pose and you're thinking, oh gosh, I feel really rigid and stuck, then just de-pose a little bit. Bend the knees, bend the elbows, and then come back into it. Come out, go back in. Find the ease, find the space. And then bring the left hand back down to the ground. Step the right foot forward. Fold in, Uttanasana. So again, if you are bleeding and the belly's feeling big, then you can take the feet a bit wider than you normally would here and take a bend in the knees so that the belly can soften down in between the legs, and then just let the head hang. Sway gently from side to side. So the spine is swaying a bit like seaweed underwater. Walk the hands up the legs, placing the hands onto the shins, and then lift the chest. Lift the breastbone away from the pubic bone so you get this passive lengthening along the abdomen. And then soft belly, fold back in. Inhale, look forward. Hands onto the shins or the thighs. And then exhale, fold all the way back in. And then coming up, we're going to spike the heels into the ground. Lift the chest and then sweep the arms up. Bend the knees as much as you need to make your lower back feel comfortable as you come up. And then bring the hands in to rest at the heart. Take a full breath here. Exhale all the way down to your feet. Feel the soles of the feet broadening and softening into the earth. Inhale, reach the arms to the sky, and then exhale, dive up and over, come into your forward fold. Inhale, look forward halfway, fingertips to the ground or hands to the shins. And then exhaling, fold in and step back to down dog. And you can lower down from down dog here, or for a stronger practice, you can curl forward into plank. You can either come down with your knees down first, or you can come through chaturanga, where you're hovering above the ground. Come into cobra or upward facing dog. The elbows are bent, the collarbones come back, unfold all the way back into down dog. Take a full breath here. Long exhale. And then on your inhale, lightly step the feet up to the hands. Look forward. Exhale. Folding in. And then come all the way up to standing. And as we exhale, we're going to dive all the way back in again. So back forward bend. Inhale, look forward halfway. Exhale, back into down dog or into plank. Take an inhale. Slowly lower. Forward. Cobra. Rolling over the toes. We'll come up and back again into our down dog. So we're going to go to a side plank. So we're going to plant the right hand really firmly into the ground. Roll to the outer edge of the right foot and step the left foot about a third of the way up the mat. Bring the left hand to the hip. Maybe raise the left arm to the sky. If you're really happy here, you can try stacking the feet. And another option here is to step the left foot behind you and then curl back. Wild thing. Come at Karasana. Let's do the other side. So we're going to go back to downward facing doggy. Roll to the outer edge of the left foot. So either step the right foot in front of you, the right hand comes to the hip, or if you're a bit more practiced, you can stack the feet, raise the right arm, and optionally, you can step that right foot behind you and then curl back. Open wide. And then back into down dog. And then from here, we're either going to jump or step, come to the top of the mat. Inhale to look forward. Exhale to fold in. And then press the feet down and uncurl all the way up to standing. The shoulders and the head will come up last. So we're going to take a big step back with the left foot. So you're in a wide stance. I'll mirror you. So right toes are turning out, left toes are turning in. And now take a deep bend in the left knee and place the left hand onto the ground or onto a block or a bolster or a cushion. And now begin to straighten the right leg. So unless you're very flexible, you'll probably have the pelvis turning a little bit towards the right here, rather than having the left hip rolling right back. Raise the left arm. So this is a variation of triangle pose. Lift the right belly away from the right leg. Open up. And you do always have the option of placing that right hand up onto the shin if this does feel wildly uncomfortable. Do be careful of your back in this one. Bring the left hand to the ground. Walk the hands in towards the center and parallel the feet. Take an inhale, lift the chest forward. And then exhale, fold in. Coming into a forward bend. Let the belly go. It can take some persuasion. Most of us are conditioned to be holding our belly in all the time. So we've got an unconscious contraction going on in the belly that's preventing the breath from flowing, preventing the blood flow. So just really let the belly go here and breathe down into the belly. And then inhale, lift the chest. Turn the left toes out. Take a bend in the left knee. We're going to place the left hand inside the ankle or onto a block. And then start to press the left leg towards straight. Roll the right hip back just as far as is comfortable. The tailbone lengthens down. And then reach the right arm to the sky. So the belly is turning away from that left thigh. Bend the left knee. Come all the way up to standing, opening the arms wide, and then let's release the pose. And we'll heel toe the feet together or jump, and then we're going to stand on the left foot. Find one spot to look at that's not moving, and then come and bring the sole of the foot to the inner ankle. So the right foot will rest on the inner ankle or calf, or if you're a bit more practiced at yoga, it's going to sit up at the top of the thigh here. And when you're feeling a bit steadier, you can bring the hands to the heart. You can raise the arms to the sky. Maybe open the arms wide. If you need more energy, this is a good one. It's like you're embracing the sky, welcoming in the day. And then release the arms down. Let's try the other side. So sole of the foot to the ankle or calf or thigh. And you can always come and stand next to the wall if you need to. If you are having a wobbly day, we all have them, then come and stand by the wall and you can use a hand on the wall to support you. Keep breathing. And then release the arms to the sides. Lovely. Let's have the feet, let's take a step back up to the top of the mat if you're not already there, and then turn the toes out slightly and have the feet a bit wider than hip distance, and start to bend the knees. And you can either have your hands resting here on your thighs, or you can keep going until the heels lift up away from the ground. If you're down here, bring the backs of the arms to the inner knees, bring the palms of the hands together and lengthen up the back of the crown. If the crown's lifting up, but the tail is softening and releasing down. It's just got really heavy. Just dropping down. Let the belly go. Let the pelvic floor broaden and soften. And just let your energy drop down into the earth. Send some roots down through the soles of the feet. Turn the gaze back down towards the heart and find an anchor in the earth beneath you. Place to the ground. We're going to take 2 steps back into down dog, and then from here we're coming all the way back down to the ground. So bring the knees to the earth, lower yourself down onto your belly, and then rest here on the belly. Interlace the fingers behind you, lift the knuckles. See if you can make some space in between your knuckles and your lower back, and then press the tops of the feet lightly into the ground. And on your next inhale, lift the chest. The gaze is forward mat, or just beyond the top of your mat. Lift up maybe a little bit higher. And then release down, making a pillow with your hands and resting your cheek. And you might decide that this is enough for you today, in which case just rest here. And if you want to continue, then place the hands under the shoulders. Press all the way back into child's pose, so the hips sink back onto the heels. The knees widen so that the belly can soften down in between the thighs, and just take a breath here into your back. And if you are getting compression, stiffness around the lower back with your cycle, this is a good one to hold for a few minutes if you want to pause the video and just rest here. And then walking the hands back towards you, come and sit up onto the heels. And swing the legs out in front. I'm going to take a blanket. See, Ruby's got my blanket. I'm going to try and find another one. So I'm going to come and sit up on a blanket for forward bends here. So let's start with the legs out in front. I'm going to take my left leg a little bit wider than the line of the hip, and then bend the right knee and place the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. And then we'll place the hands either side of the left leg. Take an inhale and then exhale. Folding in, so you're hinging at the hips. And with an inhale, just backing off very slightly. Feel that wave of the breath lifting the chest. And then through the exhale, maybe find your way a little bit deeper in. Soft, soft belly. We don't need to use the abdominal muscles to get into a forward bend. If you soften the belly, you will in fact be able to get deeper in. These are really good poses to do, these sort of reflective forward bends when you're coming up to a cycle. They're really excellent poses for just encouraging that turning in, and leads you into residing more in that inner world. And then And just rising up. Come up so that your back is absolutely tall and it will feel like it's straight. It won't be straight, the spine is never completely straight. And then we're going to hold on to the foot. If you're not quite reaching the foot, grab yourself a belt or a scarf or a tie and then put it over the sole of the foot and hold that as an extension of the arms. So rather than fold in here, we're going to lift up, lift the belly, lift the breastbone, and also lift along the back of the body. So we're looking for samavritti, for sameness along the front and the back of the spine. Lovely. And now we're going to bring that left hand to rest somewhere on the left leg, just wherever you can reach. Turn the belly away from the thigh, raise the right arm up, and then arch over. Those of you who are a bit more flexible, you can place the left elbow inside the knee. The palm faces up, the palm of the left hand faces up. And if you are very bendy, you can hold on to the outer edge of the foot here and then turn up underneath the armpit. And that's just if the foot happens to be there. You can take hold of it, but it's not a goal. You'll get just as much out of the pose if you are here. And then come all the way up. Let's do the other side. So we'll straighten the right leg out. The leg can go a little bit wide of the hip. And then we'll place the hands either side of the right leg. Take an inhale and then exhale. Just see where the exhale takes you. And then just let the inhale naturally bring you out of the pose a little bit. And then the exhale might take you a little deeper. If you find yourself pushing or straining, just back off a little bit. That's an exercise class that you're in if you're straining and pushing. And yoga is a bit different because we're more interested in finding out how we can be in harmony with the body and how we can actually get the body to lead us into the pose rather than imposing a will on the body. It becomes more of a conversation. And again, it doesn't have to go in straight lines. There can be some snaking, some wriggling. The next breath might take you further in, it might take you further out. It's more about what you can feel. So holding onto the foot or your belt or whatever it is you're using as a prop, and then lift the chest. Mahamudra. This isn't technically a pose in yoga. This is a Mahamudra, which is a seal. It's an energy seal that helps to direct the energy in a certain way around the body. And then bring your right hand to somewhere on your leg, left hand to the hip, turn away from the thigh, and then either slide that right hand down the leg or the elbow might come all the way down to the ground. Raise the left arm up and keep the breastbone spinning up towards the sky. Imagine you've got an eye in the middle of your breastbone and it's looking up towards the ceiling. And if your foot's there, then just take hold of it. If it's not, then hover. So in yoga, we're not really interested in how far we can go. We're just interested in how much sensation, how much we can feel. And then come all the way up. Great. And we're coming towards our final poses. I'm going to grab myself another blanket for the last pose. I'm going to have my eye pillow too. And I'm going to get something for under my head. Okay. So come to lie on your back and bring your knees into your chest. Draw the knees wide. So that's stage 1. Stage 2, up. Either hold on to the backs of your thighs here, or hold on to your shins, or if you can reach your feet, then hold on to the outer edges of the feet. Happy baby, happy belly, happy hips. And then rock here like a baby, rock from side to side. And for our final pose, release these legs to the ground. I'm going to make 2 rolls with my blankets as thick as I can get them, and I'm going to bring the soles of my feet together, and I'm going to put one of these rolls underneath each thigh. So you're not sitting on the blanket, it's just sitting next to your hip, and then the knees widen apart. I'm going to have a yoga block under my head, but you might want to take a pillow or a cushion, whatever you've got handy. And if you've got an eye pillow or a strap, would also work, and that can go over your eyes. And that's another calmer for the nervous system, and it's also just a way of minimizing the sensory inputs. If you have another blanket, that can always go over you. I'm going to put my eye pillow to one side, but you keep yours on. Bring the hands to the belly. And now bring the index fingers and the thumbs together and make this diamond shape with the index fingers and thumbs. And rest the palms of the hands down onto the belly. Let the knees fall away from each other. And begin to breathe down into your abdomen, letting the whoosh of the inhale travel all the way down into the belly, and then this sigh of the exhale. Just follow the pathway of the breath all the way back to the nostrils. You could imagine here that you have a pair of lungs in your belly, and those belly lungs are breathing. And if ever you're feeling really wiped out with your cycle, you can just skip straight to this pose. This is one of the best poses you can do for hormonal balance and comfort when you're on your cycle. And stay here for as long as you can. If it's time for you to move on with the rest of your day, then we'll close this practice formally now. Placing the hands under the thighs, draw the knees together, and then ever so gently, carefully roll over onto one side, just so as not to put any undue strain on the abdomen. Press the hands into the ground to push yourself all the way up to seated. Bring the left hand to the heart, the right hand to the belly. And just take a few breaths here in awareness and softness, infusing your awareness with a kindness, a sweetness. Namaste.